1981. I'm China Swartz, and I'm talking to Mollie Ann Williams. We're working on an oral history for the Unitarian Universalist Church in Muncie, Indiana. And I just learned that Mollie joined the church in 1947.
That's right. And the first time I was in the church, that's the old church, which is downtown, was 1940, the day I was married.
Oh.
Dr. McDavid married us. It was on a Saturday afternoon, a beautiful fall Saturday afternoon. Of course, you've never been in the old church?
No,
it was an interesting church. It wasn't particularly a pretty church, but it was an interesting church. You went in the main door, and then you walked upstairs to go up to the sanctuary, which was very, very interesting. And then we went down a few steps into what we call the Sunday school rooms. And then they had the kitchen there and the big dining room we used to eat in. Remember the first time we came to a carry-in supper after we joined the church? We got in line with our big aluminum trays. We were to pick up dinner plates and put them on our aluminum trays. Well, I was so excited, I just started piling the food on the aluminum tray. So I had a hard time living that down for a long time. They would kid me, aren't you going to put your food on the aluminum tray? And then I joined the Women's Service League, which was a group of ladies, the older ladies and the younger ladies were in together. And then the younger ladies decided we would like to meet in the evenings instead of the afternoon, so that someone would be home with our children. So we broke off then and made Junior Service League. And then sometime later, after our children were older, we joined the older ladies group then, and we were all one. Now I guess it's completely gone. Favors something else, I guess. But we used to have meeting twice a month if you belonged to both of the service leagues, or once a month if you just belonged to one. We used to have, I can't remember exactly what we did. We had rummage sales, and I believe we sold dishcloths and maybe paring knives to make money for our fund. And then we would annually pledge so much to the church. I can't remember what it was now. We would help with the bazaar and help with the church suppers. And then I remember we always had a big doings at Christmas. The younger parents would take over Christmas because of little folks, and always go what was called Murray's Costume Store and rent Santa Claus suits. We'd put the Santa Claus suit on our Santa Claus as soon as we got to church, and then on the way home we'd have to drop the Santa Claus suit off because there was such a great demand for Santa Claus suits. And then a few days before our Christmas party at the church, we would buy candy at Kim's Paint Store, which was on East Main Street. Well, it still is, but I don't believe they sell candy anymore. So. And we would buy these little Christmas boxes. It has a little string handles, and then the younger folk would fill the boxes with Christmas candy and hand them out to Christmas money. And I remember one special Christmas. The young folks put on Christmas story, Mollie and the Night Visitors. That was really very good. They worked a long time on
They
that.
sang the parts?
Well, no, it was a little bit different. The children acted out the parts, but there was adults saying their parts for them, but they would act them out on the stage with the adults saying their parts. The adults were hitting them. But it was good. Oh, let's see, what else? I was trying. Oh, then we had a John Murray Sunday school class. The younger people was in John Murray's Sunday school class, which was kind of went with John Murray here Sunday. But every February we would have a dinner at the YMCA, and that was to honor George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, and John Murray. But that was real nice. We had this Dr. Fair, and I don't know if you've run across Dr. Fair in any of your readings or not. He was a Spanish-American doctor during the Spanish-American War, and he would wear his Spanish-American uniform. He was quite a beautiful old man. He had snow white hair and a nice mustache. He was a nice person. All the kids liked him. So he would come and he'd talk to us. I think finally he became very interested in spiritualism. And I think he really went over to the spiritual, because he would talk in our Sunday school class about spiritualism and tell some of the fantastic things that would happen. And let's see, what else? I can't remember anything special about Easter Sundays, except one time we had a breakfast out in the country somewhere, and I don't know where it was out in the country, but that was fun. And then Halloween, I don't remember much about that. And then one time we had our Sunday school class, the John Murray Sunday school class, and all the children out. We had just built a new barn. We had a barn warming in the barn before we let the cows in, and that was fun. Let's see, I've jotted down some more things. They take time, a minute to look at them. Oh, and the Sunday school, too, we would bring in gifts to give to the needy children. Have you seen the pictures of the Sunday school class that was taken at the old church?
No, I haven't.
I have a couple of those. It's rather interesting if you want to look at them someday. Then the church had New Year's Eve services, midnight New Year's Eve services. That was a long time ago. And that's really all I can think about, unless you've got some questions you would like to ask.
Now, those first two organizations you talked about, they were service groups, and one
Yes.
was for older women.
It was called the Women's Service League, and then the younger ladies decided we'd have the Junior Service League. So it was two
And these
separate.
were just women.
Yes.
Did the men have any?
No.
Just the
No.
women.
They didn't. They worked a lot in the old church, renovating some rooms down in the basement. They turned some old rooms over into Sunday school rooms. But as for men's group, no. Not that I know of. Arl never belonged to one.
Did they help with the bazaar?
Oh, yes.
The men?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, they always did. Very good, with the dinners. And then it seemed like they used to have a pancake supper. I guess they still do. That the men did all the work. I mean, we still have one, don't we?
Do we?
Maybe we don't.
Well, I'm kind of new to this, and there are lots of things I don't know. I think there are things going on that I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Think of anything else?
Well, that sounds like that helped you, though, raise your family.
Oh, yes. Both of our children were I guess we don't call it christening anymore. I think we call it naming in our church. I can't remember. They were both fairly small. I remember Mr. Brazier held our daughter, our daughter, so she was pretty little. But they were both raised in the church. But they've moved away, so of course they don't attend anymore. We bring our granddaughter every time we can get a hold of her to church.
Is as much going on now?
I would say
as when
yes.
you first started?
Yes. But I don't know about as much because not being active as much in the groups, I don't know. But we have our bazaars then, if we cleared a few $100s, we were very happy because they were very small. And like Mrs. Shin said this morning, each group did their own little thing. Now, as I remember one bazaar, the Junior Service League ladies, we made aprons and sold aprons. And I forget, and there was food sales, and then we'd have kind of a carnival like with the bazaar, in connection with the bazaar. They had this elderly lady, Mrs. Kiger. She's in her 101 or 2 now, and she would tell fortunes. And then they had silhouette drawings of children. We still have a silhouettes of our children that Mr. Brazier drew. But yes, I think the church is far more active than it was then. We were kind of a close little group. We had a large church attendance, but so many of the church people did not enter into the Sunday school group. So that would made a difference there.
Have they always had a minister here?
Oh, yes. As far as I know. I suppose the very, very beginning, years ago, I think they probably had a visiting minister or who was on a circuit of some kind, perhaps. Yes, as far as I know, they've always had a minister. Mm-hmm.
It never was a fellowship where
I don't
people
know.
did their own
I don't know.
speaking.
I don't think so, but I'm not sure.
I'd never heard. I just was wondering about that. You think there's enough for women and the
Here?
families as there was?
I don't know about that because I'm not
sure.
I'm not whether they have parties on their own with their. Of course, not having an adult Sunday school like we had an adult Sunday school class where the husband and wives attended the same class while the children went to Sunday school. So that made, I think, maybe a little bit closer relation. We could plan our own little parties on our own and not have to include the whole church group.
Oh, I see. Then they went to Sunday school, and the
Well,
adults went to Sunday
yes,
school,
and
and then
then
there
we
was
went to
another,
church.
and the children sat through the main service.
If you wanted to go upstairs to church, you could. But otherwise, we would all come in and join for maybe 15 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes, and then we all go to our classes. And when it was over, we'd either go to church or go home.
Oh.
So that's the way that.
But if you went to church, your children would go with
Yes,
you.
yes. There was no babysitters in those days.
Well, I find that interesting. It sounds exciting.
It was coming back. We needed some sort of social activities at that time, and we didn't have any yet. I hadn't joined sorority and other things. So we needed that social outlet, which the church gave us. And it's still giving us some social outlet. I guess this is really the only thing we have stuck with. I've dropped out of becoming active in the sorority and dropped out of my home economics club. So really this is like the travelers meeting this Saturday and carry-in dinners about the only thing we go through outside like that.
How many ministers do you think you've seen?
Oh, let's see.
Quite a few by now.
Reverend McDavid, and then after there was Reverend Lockwood, and then there was a Reverend Helms. And then maybe there was somebody else in there I've forgotten. And then out here we had a interim minister for a while. I cannot remember his name. He was from Wisconsin. And then we had, I can't remember the next one's name. And he was very, very an intellect. And then we had Reverend Giles. Oh no, we had O'Kelly. And then Giles, and now Kennedy. So we have gone through a few anyway.
Yes, well, over that period of time.
Of course, McDavid was at the old church for 25 years.
Oh.
So that was a long time with the same minister.
So I'm new here too, so I don't know how long this church has been here.
Oh, we looked it up not too long ago. Oh, it must be 15 years, maybe.
I've lived here for 15 years.
Have you?
And I can't remember whether this was here when I first came to town.
We sold the old church, and then we went into this little church there on Tillotson and Riverside for a while, and then built this house and come in. But this is a beautiful church.
Oh, yeah, the surroundings are beautiful. It's like being out in the country,
It really
not really
is.
being very far out. Well, I can't think of any more questions. If you have something more to add.
I can't think of anything more.
I think that gives a good picture of the activities, things that were going on.
Of course, more people were involved in the business of the church. We never were until Orville, we came out here, and then Orville was on the board. But that's the only business end of the church that we've been involved in.
Well, I've enjoyed doing this.
I've enjoyed doing it with you.
Yeah, good.